Hi everyone, welcome to Shimmer Girl Talks. Today's topic, I see this quite a bit online, and that is Black women stating that we are undervalued, underappreciated, and my personal opinion. I think that a lot of Black women put undue stress upon themselves. That's not how I wanted to word it necessarily. But when you get online, and don't act like I'm the only person that sees this, so many Black women get online talking about how they're strong and independent. Doesn't that sound like a broken record at this point? Strong, independent, don't need a man. Men are useless. Men are dusties. I don't need a man to be fulfilled. I take care of mines, talking about their children. So when you're telling the whole world that you are this powerhouse, this superwoman who doesn't need a man, then you're basically having people step back and say, "Okay, you got this, girl, then go on with your bad self." We put cuz I don't feel, as a Black woman, I do not feel that I'm undervalued. I don't feel that I'm not appreciated. And I think one reason could, and that's this is something else. I feel that so many Black women, they look for other alternatives for fulfillment. Fulfillment for a woman, and I know this is going to sound archaic and like I'm trapped in the 1950s, but fulfillment for a woman is taking care of husband, house, your children. That is what fulfills you. And that does not mean that you can't be out there being like a career woman and a driven woman, but you have to find the balance if you want, you know, marriage and a husband and all of that. You have to find that balance. But what a lot of women are doing is they're pulling all of their eggs, or whatever, however you want to word it, into the career basket. Strong, independent, don't need a man. And what happens is during those quiet moments when a lot of these women, they have their children and there's no life partner with them, particularly a husband, not Mr. Pookie Man who comes through every now and then to munch on the box, you know what I mean? And then he goes on to his main woman's house or to his own whatever. This is what the reason why I'm here, because I want to be that voice for young women to let you know that marriage is honorable. It is something that's going to give you fulfillment in your life. Now, does that mean that there are no low points in marriage? Of course it is. You have low points. You have unhappy times. You have happy times. You have bored times. There's a lot of stuff that happens in a marriage. But you don't give up on it because you hit a rough patch. So going back to Black women feeling underappreciated, where are those women in their lives? Pay attention to the women that say that they're undervalued and unappreciated. 10 times out of 10, they're unmarried, they have their children, they focused on their careers. And again, a lot of women try to find their fulfillment outside of a husband and children. And then again, those quiet moments, some of your quietest moments are your loudest moments, if you know what I mean. We weren't made to be solitary workhorses, particularly for, our communities. It's unfortunate that so many Black women, they have a lot of enthusiasm for this girl code, sister code, and it was very prevalent with the whole Kamala Harris thing, election, and you saw how many Black women crashed out when she lost. And these same women don't even crash out over trying to preserve, the ideal of marriage and, children within marriage. And I know somebody is thinking, who, spends time watching my content, dang, she talk about marriage all the time. Well, hello, that is my platform, a marriage relationship type of platform. Not to mention, I feel that a lot of young women are getting, they're hearing too much negativity about marriage and the ideal of marriage. And y'all don't even have to take my word for it. Just go to any forum that's geared towards Black women, and you're going to see for yourself the negativity about marriage. So the reason why I promote marriage so hard is because, think about it like this, because this all is it's a way that I want to word this. It all ties in together. Let's say your mother was married to your dad and they raised you up in love, and all that goes along with having a mother and a father. Now, let's not pretend that a large portion of us were raised by a single mother. I was raised by a single mother. I've been transparent about that. And I never knew my father, like never. Not even laid eyes on him, never. So that's probably one reason why this is, so important to me, because I know that a lot of young people out here are just getting their mother's side of the story about life, about marriage, about relationships and all of that. But I want to go back to Black women feeling as though we are undervalued and underappreciated. So let's go back to, in an ideal world, you would be growing up with your dad in the home and your mother. And those are two different types of love that you would receive from both parents. Your mother is not going to give you the same type of love that your father would give to you. And your father is not going to give you the same type of love that your mother would give to you. So think about if Black women were raised under the covering of their dad, and then they go out there and then they get married. Now they're under the covering of a husband. And I don't think that we would be hearing all of these Black women are underappreciated and undervalued. You wouldn't be hearing all of that if everything was put into its proper perspective. But instead, Black women like to go out there and tout their education. I'm a PhD. I have 10 masters and this, that, and the other. And I have a condo downtown. And I drive a pricey car, and I have $150K in the bank, and I have one child out of wedlock, or I have 5 children out of wedlock. You're not going to feel valued when you have things out of order. Because what's happening is a lot of women, they make choices out of order, and then they expect a man to come back around and give her the order that she should have had before the children. Or while she was working her way through college, letting Mr. Nice Guy, who would treat her like a queen and love her, take her off the market and marry her, and then grow their life and their family together. So it boils down to Black women doing things out of order and then expecting order out of disorder. So that's why I talk so tough about marriage, because it has a trickle-down effect. If your mother was married to your dad, then you have the love from him, the covering, all of that type stuff in an ideal world. I know life isn't always ideal, but as a woman who did not grow up with her father, never knew her father, and had cousins who did grow up with their father, and friends, there is a huge difference, I feel, within, how they carry themselves. There's a lot of things about being a daddyless daughter, and I've discussed that here before. So that's why I do have an issue with women who become single mothers by choice, like Ebony K. Williams. And I did a video on her, and y'all should see some of the feedback that I got from that. It was a lot of mad single mothers in there. And I think that a lot of women, they see these topics as picking on them instead of constructive criticism and looking outside of themselves. You have to think about the children that you have who needs their dad. So I say all of this to say, I don't believe Black women would be feeling underappreciated and undervalued if they were putting things in their proper perspective. Make the proper choices. You can't choose your parents, but you can choose your life by getting married, then having your children, and stop putting, your education and having children out of wedlock and putting emphasis on titles and superficial things and materialistic things over what is really going to fulfill you at the end of the day. So that was my topic. I hope I got my thoughts out. Tell me what you think. Are Black women really undervalued, underappreciated? And if you don't agree with what I said, what are your thoughts on that? And I'll talk to you later.